Hi everyone. So, my name is Ashley and I'm a recovering addict. I used to use everything you could think of from heroin, meth, crack, um, all of it. Like anything that I could get my hands on, I would do. So, I'm going to be talking today about the time that I almost overdosed off meth, which I was told for a long time that you can't overdose off meth. Like it's not like heroin. You can't really overdose off of it. So, I was living in Kentucky at the time with my boyfriend, which was a whole bad situation in itself. Like, that's a whole story in itself. But so I was living in Kentucky with my boyfriend's family, and they were highly addicted to meth. And we had this person that we normally went to. Um, his name was Tommy, and which, I mean, I generally don't say the names, but I mean, how many Tommies are there on Earth? Plus, this was years and years ago. So his name was Tommy, and he used to do meth like crazy. Like he had a very, very high tolerance. So we only had $20 one day. So we went to Tommy and we spent this 20. And when we went over there, Tommy was acting so weird. Like he was jittery and all over the place and just like crazy. And we had seen him do lines like that big. So we was like, oh man, he probably mixed something. There's no way it was the meth. He just probably took stuff he's not used to and mixed it all together and whatnot. So we end up getting our stuff and leave. So we get back home and we go to put it in the spoon and get it all ready. And my boyfriend was like, well, since there's only 20 here, this isn't going to get us both high. Do you just want it? And I was like, yeah, I do. So I took him up on his offer and I ended up doing the whole thing. Well, when you do meth and you get a really good one, it takes your breath away. Like you get this feeling in your throat and it gets like your breathing gets funny. Like it sounds so scary, but when you do it, you want that. That's like the best. Like if you get that feeling in the back of your throat and you cough, you know that it's going to be a banger. Like you know that it's going to be good. And he didn't even have it halfway pushed in and my breath was gone. Like I couldn't I don't know why I kept doing it because he was like, "Do you want the rest?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, they say you can't overdose off of it, so just go on, just push it the rest of the way in." And he did, and I jumped back and I freeze and I said, I think I know what was wrong with Tommy. And he starts looking at me and he said I turned so pale that I was green. And he starts feeling my pulse and then he starts rushing up and going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." He's pacing around the room. He's trying to figure out what to do because we've dealt with heroin overdoses before. We've never dealt with a meth overdose. And so he was panicking. He had no idea what to do. And he was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm sitting there trying to talk, but I'm just frozen. Like, I can't move. I can't think. I can't speak. It's like everything is just not working. I'm just frozen there, just sitting there. And I'm like getting so high. It's like out of this world. And my heart rate was skyrocketing. And I was scared to death, but I couldn't move or do anything about it. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is how I die. I'm going to have a heart attack. And luckily I didn't. I went like I was right there like at the peak. Like if I went any higher, I probably would have been dead. Like I was insanely high and insanely scared. And finally I started coming back down, but it was so scary. Like my body just like tried to shut down basically. Like I couldn't think about how to answer him. He kept asking if I was okay and I was just like frozen. I couldn't like my brain wouldn't work to speak. Like I wanted to say yes, but I couldn't figure out how. Like everything was just not working. It was so scary. It was one of the scariest things I've ever been through in my entire life. So please, if you are on drugs, please, please, please try to get clean. But if you are still using, please at the very least know what you're using and don't overdo it. You can always add more, but you cannot take away. Like always test your stuff, make sure it's safe before you go doing a big amount. But above all, please try to get clean because it's really not worth it. And one of these times could be your last time. And that's my story on how I almost overdosed off meth.